Ohio's #1 choice for news. Cleveland's own Fox 8 News starts now.
For the first time in 16 years, the name Frank Jackson is not on the ballot for Cleveland mayor.
7 people are vying to take that job. After today, that list will be down to 2 as voters make their decision. Thanks for joining us for Fox 8 News at 7 o'clock. I'm Joe Toohey.
And I'm Elizabeth Noreka. Our top story, who will be Cleveland's next mayor? From council members to a state lawmaker, a former congressman, and private business leaders, the field of candidates is very diverse.
We do have team coverage tonight, beginning with Fox 8's Matt Wright, who is at the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections with more on the Justin Bibb campaign. Matt.
Joe, Liz, Justin Bibb is the youngest candidate in the race for mayor, and he has never before held public office. He says he brings fresh ideas for change to City Hall. Bibb kicked off this primary election day campaigning outside the Cadell Rec Center polling location. Bibb voted early yesterday here at the Board of Elections alongside his 92-year-old grandmother. The 34-year-old grew up on the city's east side and calls himself a civic leader, having served on the boards of several community organizations. He currently works as Chief Strategy Officer for a nonprofit, following a role with KeyCorp. Bibb touts the endorsement of former Mayor Mike White and says over the course of the campaign he has held more than 200 meet and greets across the city.
In a Bibb administration, I see Cleveland being one of the best mid-sized cities in America, where our seniors get the support they need, where young people have access to real opportunity, and where we are leading this country to address climate change and bring real economic and racial justice to our city.
Bibb says he is best suited to change the culture inside Cleveland City Hall on the heels of the Jackson administration, which oversaw continuing population declines and poverty increases. Joe and Liz.
Busy day on the campaign trail. Matt Wright live for us. Matt, thank you.
Among those entering today's mayoral primary in Cleveland with a lot of confidence is current Cleveland City Council President Kevin Kelly.
Fox 8's Dave Nethers is following his campaign, and he joins us live from City Hall. Hey, Dave.
Right, City Hall, where Kevin Kelly first became a councilman in 2005, later the council president in 2013, and now hopes to ascend to the city's highest office. Fox 8 cameras caught up with Kelly as he cast his vote today. No question who he votes for. He believes he is the most qualified. He spent the day then going from precinct to precinct, meeting voters and asking for their support. Kelly, who marched with the outgoing mayor, Frank Jackson, in a Labor Day parade, who became council member the same year Jackson took office. He enters today's primary with Jackson's endorsement. His first 100 days in office, he tells Fox 8 that he'll prioritize paid parental leave, decreasing violent crime. He will frame out what to do with coronavirus dollars over the next 4 years, have a strategy for what he calls the digital divide, providing better access to broadband to all of Cleveland, and to work on improving the economy by getting people to work.
We need to make sure that we start to have real conversations, ask the right questions about why is it that we live in a community where there are thousands of open, available, high-paying careers, where you can put food on your table, buy 2 cars, buy a house, put your kids through college, careers open, and yet we have unemployed and underemployed people within 1 square mile.
Kelly comes into the primary election today feeling quite confident about his chances to be among the top 2, but after voting he told Fox 8 that the election will not be in his mind won or lost on what he does today, but what his campaign has done over the past 6 months. Well, now let's go to Suzanne Stratford, who is with the Dennis Kucinich campaign. Suzanne?
Thank you, David. We are here with the hoping is going to be a victory party for the former Congressman Dennis Kucinich, also former presidential candidate and former mayor of the city of Cleveland, hoping that voters will give him another chance at running the city. He is promising and vowing to bring peace, security, jobs, industry, you name it. He wants to bring it all back to the city and says he has the experience and knows how to do it. Kucinich voted early this morning at the Halloran Park skating rink on the west side. Now, when he was mayor, and he has received some criticism because the city defaulted on its loans back in the 70s. However, he says that is because he was going after the banks, and he will fight corruption if he is elected mayor again. He says he will clean out City Hall, and he will fight for the citizens, promising to bring industry back to this city and lower utility rates, just a number of different ways, including education, affordable housing, things like that. He says that will make this city a better place to live and raise your children. Also, he is big on public safety. After 2,300 shootings so far this year alone, Dennis Kucinich says his top priority will be public safety.
Cleveland really needs more police. We need to have a safer city. We need to make it sure that people aren't afraid to go to a gas station, not afraid to sit on their porch. I mean, we want a safe city.
And so there you see it on the sign there, safety, peace, prosperity. That's what former Congressman Dennis Kucinich is promising to bring to the city. He is optimistic, feeling good about some of the recent polls, and receiving some endorsements from the AFL-CIO, Ohio Machinists, and the Teamsters, among others. So feeling pretty good, but again, it's going to take the voters getting out there and supporting him as well, as he knows. And he's not the only one. It is a tight race, and there are a number of candidates. Our own Fox 8's Kevin Freeman joining us now from Zach Reed's campaign headquarters.
And Suzanne, public health, public safety, education, those are the issues that Zach Reed, former Councilman Zach Reed, says that are important to him and that he will focus on if he is elected mayor. We do know that he has run for mayor before and he did not win. He had an unsuccessful bid for mayor against Mayor Frank Jackson 4 years ago. But we caught up with the former councilman, 17-year councilman at A.J. Rickoff Elementary School on the east side in the Mount Pleasant neighborhood. He tells us that he knows the city, that he knows the budget. He grew up in Cleveland, that this is his time. Now, many people say that they offer new ideas. He says he's the one that offers new ideas. Before he announced that he was running for mayor, he was minority outreach coordinator for the Secretary of State Frank LaRose in the Mike DeWine administration here. He says he wants to build off of his defeat against the mayor and be the next mayor of Cleveland. Here's what he had to say.
No one can tell you that they worked and assisted revitalization of public housing. No one can tell you they took a ward in Mount Pleasant that no one thought could move forward, and we moved that ward forward. And no one can tell you that they traveled the state of Ohio over the last 3 years helping to save voting rights. That's a wide range of experience, not just experience at 601 Lakeside, not just experience in government, this is experience across the board.
All right, and so if he keeps what he told me earlier today, I think I've told you before, he's a little bit superstitious. So in about 20 minutes, maybe less, he will be voting. He wants to cast his vote at 7:25. He says because every time he has voted at 7:25, he has won his election. That's been the election for city council, although we know that he did not win that election against Mayor Frank Jackson, the general election 4 years ago.
Gotta stick with those superstitions. Kevin, thank you so much.
And mayoral candidate Sandra Williams has already cast her ballot, so today she did some last-minute campaigning at Cleveland's Fairhill neighborhood. Williams served as a state representative for 8 years and has spent the last 7 in the Ohio Senate. Williams says she knows the importance of supporting businesses downtown, but her focus will be on the neighborhoods.
Attorney Ross DeBello also did some last-minute campaigning. He voted over the weekend, but spent today canvassing near the Gunning Rec Center along Puritas Avenue on Cleveland's west side. DeBello admits he's a long shot to win, but says he'll continue to work for a better city.
And the final candidate, Councilman Bashir Jones, also cast his ballot in early voting. He had no public appearances scheduled today. The 37-year-old is serving his first term at City Council. If elected, Jones would become Cleveland's first Muslim mayor, and he says he sees his faith as a unifying force. While the candidates wait in anticipation, voters have just a few more minutes now to cast their ballot.
But how many people will decide who moves on to the general election? Fox 8's Alex Stokes live now on Cleveland's east side, where things have been relatively quiet. Alex?
Yeah, Liz, Joe, overall things have been quiet today, not at the lines that you would maybe see at other elections, but the number to beat was 13% of total voter turnout from 4 years ago. The county, overall, every voter in the county has been able to do that. We are now at 15.5% of total voter turnout. So Overall, the turnout was better than we had seen in the past. However, we didn't, like I say, see those long lines. We didn't see that big push. And so a good reason may have been because people already voted. They were largely quiet throughout the day in Cleveland despite a consequential primary election for the city's residents. Cleveland has a mayoral and city council races on the ballot, and several other Cuyahoga County cities are also holding municipal elections. By lunchtime, the total voter turnout was roughly 10%, half of what the Board of Elections is projecting. They were still holding on to 20% by the end of the day. Director Anthony Perlotti says about 22,000 people voted by mail compared to 9,000 4 years ago. Though there were masks on and sanitizing, the Friendly Inn Settlement Precinct on Cleveland's east side, poll workers believe that the pandemic is still a factor for many.
COVID and the variant, it's really like have strayed people more to go to the absentee ballots and vote and at home and stuff like that, because a lot of people seem like they're scared to come out.
If you have the opportunity and the time, please get out and vote. Voting in these odd years, these municipal years, is just as important as a presidential year. It's these types of elections where you are electing the individuals who provide you your local city services.
So if you do want to get your voice heard, you have about 20 minutes left until the polls close. Again, right now, about 15.5% of the county has turned out to vote in their respective elections. And we are seeing that there is a majority of people who voted on election day as opposed to absentee at this point.
It's interesting, as you said there, still about 19 minutes left. If you can vote, go vote. It's good for everyone when you do. Alex, thank you.
And polls are open until 7:30 tonight. The top two candidates will move forward to the general election on November 2nd. Stay with Fox 8 News and fox8.com for the results. Classroom concerns with COVID cases on the rise.
Still to come here on Fox 8 News at 7, state children's hospitals making a plea to the governor, his message about protecting Ohio's young students.
And no vaccine, no service. The latest bar in Northeast Ohio to require more than an ID to enter. Hi, Andre.
Hi there, Elizabeth. Yesterday we told you how dry it was here in northern Ohio. It still is, but thunderstorms may at least put a dent in that. But how is the whole state doing? It's not the same story in other parts of the state, and we'll look at that coming up.